Hey, everybody. And welcome back to
the Heavyset Podcast.
You know what's funny is that, we show the excitement whenever we're doing this. And like before we do this, we're just really quiet. I'm like, hey, are you ready for this? Are you ready to go? Yeah, let's go. Then we flip that switch. Cheers, J-Bug.
Cheers.
You know what, Justy Bug? I'm thankful. I'm thankful for you.
Thankful for me?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm just thankful for you being there. And I'm being serious right now. I'm being dead serious. I appreciate you.
What do you want, Chris?
I need a loan.
Sounds like you're buttering me up for something.
Now, I'll tell you this. It's good. Here's what I can tell you. I know people that I've always thought this. I know people that are not close with their siblings. And I've always thought that was weird because we were very close growing up and still close, even though our lives are busy. We don't see each other much.
Yeah.
But thank you for always letting me come and talk to you.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
So about that loan. Nah, I'm kidding.
Wrong person to ask a loan from. I was about to ask you for a loan.
Ask me for a loan.
We're in bad shape. Where's Right Buns at?
God, yes, Ryan. What do you think Ryan would say if we came to him and we were like, "Hey, me and Justy Bug falling on a few hard times. He's supporting the whole family. I'm not." But I was like, "We need a small loan today."
Be like, how small? Or he might be like, guys, I was about to ask you for a loan.
I'm making sure it's still recording and we're going good. So how have you been?
Yeah. Hot, miserable, otherwise all right.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. You're out there slave driving. I'm in here sipping my iced tea.
Yeah. You're a dandy, all right.
Life's been pretty good. I've been coming to a lot of realizations here lately, but it's all good stuff. Justy Bug, life's one big lesson. You learn as you go. You're never too old to learn a lesson, J-Bug. This being 6 years my senior.
Yeah.
And by the way,
leave some wisdom on me, Chris.
I saw a kid the other day, and we started talking about stuff, and he was asking how old I was. And I was like, just be honest with me. Answer me honestly. And I was like, how old do you think I am? Do you know what he said?
38.
Actually, no. I thought he was going to say 55. No, but he goes, honestly, I was like, you look like you're 30. I was like, I am 30. I was like, thank God. I was like, dude, people usually think I'm in my 50s. I'm out here walking around with a bad back, kneecaps popping out.
Somebody told me I looked like I was 30 the other day. I was like, oh, thanks for lying to me. And went on about my business.
Even if it's a lie, it's a hell of a compliment. Yeah, I'll take it.
Chris, yeah, talking about me being hot and miserable at work made me think of, a few episodes ago we did our food confessions.
Yeah.
The guy at work gave me his food confession.
What was it?
Okay. A long, hard day at work. He goes home. He gets an entire pack of Oreos, puts them into a bowl, pours milk over it, and mashes it up and eats it like it's a bowl of cereal.
Probably the best bowl of cereal ever.
An entire pack. I was like a sleeve? No, a pack.
Is it double stuffed? What do we do?
I think it's regular.
Just regular Oreos?
Regardless. It's quite the feat.
I've never actually done that. I'll just put them in I'll put Oreos in a cup. But I've never actually eaten an entire pack of Oreos, believe it or not.
I don't know if I have.
Not in one setting.
Not in a setting.
I try to stay away from that stuff now because, obviously you know why. But it's tough, man. Because I know if I go and eat an entire thing of Oreos, I'm going to go in this weird sugar coma and just start sweating profusely.
I tell you what I struggle with is I'll have a cheat meal or a bad day. And then once that make one bad decision in eating food, I'm done for the whole day. Sometimes the whole weekend, sometimes the whole week. I'm like, well, I've already messed it up. Might as well just indulge.
And
then me also being diabetic puts my sugar like out of control in a death spiral.
when you just feel lousy. Like, that's the thing about like a cheat day and stuff like that. Like, I always tell people, I'm not really the type of guy you need to give a cheat day. Like, I would be a horrible drug addict because I obviously have no self-control. Like, if you gave me just a little bit of meth, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get hooked. And a little bit of meth will turn to a lot of meth. If you give me one Oreo, I'm going to be doing a whole bowl and a freaking bowl of milk.
Sometimes we don't know when to say no, obviously.
And what's like food for us, and honestly, like I tell people this because you think about like how you show love for somebody, how I show love, how we all. For me, it's usually through food.
Yeah,
it's
your birthday coming up. What do you want to eat?
Exactly.
Let me cook you a meal. What's your favorite meal? Let me cook you something.
And I've never it doesn't compute to me that other people aren't like that. That other people don't enjoy food. I met a chick here the other day, didn't even know who she was. And of course, you know me, and how I get to know people is through food.
Yeah.
I remember asking her. She didn't know who the heck we just met. And I was like, if you're on death row and had one last meal, like what would it be? And of course she loved food too, so it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
But it was but I thought after that, why did I do that? And other people that's not a normal thing. Why do I do that, America?
I don't know. I did the same thing. I think like talking about food is a great like lowest common denominator type of conversation is a good like entry. Everybody eats.
Exactly. Everybody eats.
Most people enjoy eating. A buddy of mine went on vacation. My first question was, where'd you eat at? What was good? That's
all I know. People are like, what activities? No. I don't care if you went parasailing. I don't care if you caught a swordfish. What did you eat at? That's what I'm concerned about. And how good was it?
I don't care what the top of Mount Everest was. How was the food?
This sounds terrible to admit. I probably shouldn't say this. I once had a chick one time. I was like, I was probably getting a little too weird, but I was like, hey, describe to me slowly, like what you cooked and like all the ingredients you which just shows you where I'm at in life.
That makes me think of when we worked together, our buddy used to describe meals to you and food.
Hey, he doesn't care if we bring it up. Hey, shout out to old Shane.
Yeah.
And
Shane.
You're probably not watching this, but his food stories, do you remember? I know what's funny is he'll be describing his food ventures because this dude's a well-traveled man.
Yeah.
And I'd always love to hear about it. Like, dude, tell me, like, what did you see out there in the front lines? What did you experience? And I'll let you tell him my reactions.
Chris was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a kid at Christmas. Like his eyes lit up and he's like in awe. Just like, you ever have like your grandpa tell you like an old story from his youth and you're just in amazement. That's how Chris was with Shane's food descriptions.
It was like Shane was telling me, yeah, it's like he was on the front lines of World War II in the trenches, and I'm just sitting there like, and then what happened? You mean to tell me that this steak was covered with a honey glaze? Oh my gosh.
It's the moistest steak you've ever had.
Oh. Justy Bug, there's been some scandals going on. A few scandals. And these are pretty old by now, but I did want to talk about them because I just thought it was so funny.
How many of these involve you?
I try not to have any scandals. I don't know. Why am I getting so nervous now? No, but I'm going to ask you this. We both played some football in our time. And
can't tell now, but yeah.
Yeah. Which hell, I honestly, I was bigger, I think, back when I played than I am now. To be honest with you, which is hilarious. But have you, with locker room culture is such a funny thing because, you can say whatever you want. You got that locker room bond, the camaraderie in there, and a lot of things get said, and it's one of those just like sacred places.
Yeah, I mean, people you hear it referred to as locker room talk.
Locker room talk. And let me tell you, there's been some heavy jargon in the locker room. Yeah, because that's the beauty of it. You can say whatever you want to say because you know that there's no judgment in there.
Can you do whatever you want to do in there, Chris?
Well, we're about to get into that. Here's the thing is, when I'm in a locker, I don't want to do everything I want to do in there. I don't want nothing to happen to me in there, which was what we're about to find out. Because have you ever experienced hazing?
Me personally, no, I haven't. Have you?
I don't think I have either. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever been dry humped?
No. Can't say that I have, Chris.
The reason why I'm bringing this up, dry humping specifically, here's why. Okay, you know the University of Northwestern.
Yeah.
Well, I know I told you to read up a little bit about it, but allegedly and apparently there was this huge hazing allegation going on where the members of the football team, apparently it's been going on for a while, like people come forward with it. Anyway, the members of the football team were like gathering up the freshmen who like were making mistakes in practice or they weren't performing well, and then have like this weird list of people. Anyway, one of the hazing things that they would do was they would put on purge masks, take them into like a dark room, and dry hump them as like a punishment.
What a weird thing to do.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel, well, sad for whoever that is being done to. And like, I don't, it just kind of baffles me that people would think that's okay.
I've heard weird stories, which I've heard a lot of hazing stories, like in frat houses and stuff like that. But why would you want to do that? As a grown man, you're a college D1 athlete, and you make the decision, whose idea is this? To be like, hey, Skeeter, you dropped the ball in practice. You about to get dry humped here in about T-minus 3 hours.
Hey, your number's been called. Better head back to the back room.
And something else that allegedly happened that I read about was that they would have another punishment or some form of punishment or initiation. They would have the offensive lineman get naked, stand up like in the way to go to the showers, and they would spin like rollers. You'd have to walk through them as they're rubbing up on you. I'm telling you, it's getting, I tell you, it is getting bad out there at Northwestern University. If you're a Wildcat fan, you need to be concerned right now.
Okay, first of all, why would you do that? And second of all, like, I wouldn't want to be the person walking through. I also wouldn't want to be the person rubbing my junk all over some dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, if I was an elder statesman of the football squad, I'm putting a stop to this. I'm not going to get involved.
You're not going to be like, ho, ho, ho.
No. I mean, it's just so... We live in weird times. But you got to think, does this go on anywhere else? Hazing happens, initiations, all that stuff happen, but is it to this extent? We love the University of Arkansas. We're big Razorback fans. Is this going on up there on the hill?
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
But then,
time to get in the hog pile, boys.
Get in the hog pile. Everybody, let's get naked. Let's go lay on top of each other. This is your punishment. This is an initiation. It's a part of the process.
You fumble the ball, you're at the bottom of the hog pile.
Y'all want to win games, don't you?
This will make you stronger. What I thought, okay, I read this up about this literally 5 minutes before we started this.
Okay.
But what I thought was, okay, terrible situation. But what I thought was kind of funny about it was they called it running. and they would say that person needs to go for a run, and that's what they would say for the person that they were going to do it to. But apparently, they did this more around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they called it Runsgiving and Runsmas.
And Runsmas?
Yes, and they said they had a list, and for whatever reason, it was called Shrek's List.
Oh my gosh!
It's some sort of bizarre stuff going on.
What are you thankful for? This Runsgiving. Thankful for me and my teammates. I'm thankful for them dry humping me after practice every day.
What do you want for Runsmas?
What do you want for Runsmas? And the coach got fired over this.
Yeah.
And he's a Northwestern legend. I think it's Pat Fitzgerald. He's been there. He played there. Coached there for years. And Northwestern isn't a football powerhouse. They went 1-11 last year. So probably letting him go wasn't that big of a thing. But, then you got to think, and people were like, well, did he know about it?
Yeah.
Because some people say that this was wrote on a whiteboard in the facility of the list of the Runsmas or Runsgiving. And so, and you could probably sit there and say maybe he had no clue. But if the whiteboard thing was true, then he had to have some sort of inkling.
Oh, yeah.
And who's not saying anything about this, in the building? This has got to get out. I don't care. It doesn't matter what's going on. If you're dry humping somebody in any situation, it's getting out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Someone's going to know. And of course, remember the Penn State scandal?
Yeah.
Of course, that's a whole different ballgame right there. But and even, the coach knew about that.
Yeah.
It was brought to his attention, and, he basically just buried it.
Yeah, you just turn a blind eye to it.
But that's what, the dude lost his job. So.
Yeah, you think about it, and you're just like, I don't even know what to say about it.
It's weird. It'd be a weird thing. Kids are weird, though. Kids are weird these days.
How would you feel if you had a son that went to Northwestern? You found out he was the president that was unwrapped on Runsmas.
A president on Runsmas? That'd be devastating.
It
would be like, what have I done?
Why didn't you say something?
If I'm a recruit on a visit and I'm going in there, and I would transfer out. If I witnessed this, I was like, this is what's going on down there. We're trying to win football games. Everybody's getting chummy with each other. I was like, I don't want no part of this. I'll go play at freaking Dartmouth. I'll transfer to Tulane, be the Green Wave.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk about that because I was just hurt. I was like, good Lord. I thought, man, that's rough stuff. And it made me wonder, if you had experienced any type of hazing, maybe not even football-wise, but anything in life or initiation.
I've never experienced anything like that. I had seen people give atomic setups or whatever where they blindfold them.
What the hell is that?
You never seen that? I think they call it atomic setup. They get down, they're like, but you can't do. It's like from the movie Heavyweights.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then you do a sit up right into someone's crack.
Yeah.
I've never
they're
witnessed
mooning
that.
you.
I've heard stories of I have heard stories, some horror stories of not I wouldn't say local, maybe semi-local, of people that I've talked to about weird stories in the locker room. Of people getting held down, someone getting their dong and smacking on someone's face. I'm like, dude, even that, I wouldn't play anymore. I wouldn't be a part of this.
Yeah. You're like, man, I hate to be that guy.
Yeah, nothing worse than being that dude. Shout out to whoever that happened to. We're reviewing our thoughts right now. We hope those people get what's coming to them.
So where do we go from here, Chris? Give me a good transition.
Justy Bug, we were sitting here, as we always do. It's weird to think about what we're going to discuss on here. And that's where really Rye Buns comes in.
Yeah.
Our brother who can't be here with us today. But I'm going to tell you something. So I was like, we got a topic. We got a topic we're going to get into. We got some things to talk about. But I was like, I want to ask you some questions.
You ask me some questions?
Yeah. I know what's funny is I didn't even come up with these. I just Googled interesting questions to ask people.
Glad you put a lot of thought and consideration in the list.
Well, you want some tea?
No, I'm good. I got my Coke Zero.
Okay, Justy Bug. What would be the title of a book about you? What would be the title of it?
Title of a book about me.
What would you want it to be?
Old Redbeard.
Old Redbeard?
Yeah.
That's not bad. Any more you can think of?
I don't know.
Think about it. It could be anything.
The-
Old Redbeard. Old Redbeard's not a bad
The
title.
Life and Times of Justin Hawthorne.
I told Ryan one time, I was like, if I had a book about me, I was like, it'd be Rags to Failure, the Chris Hawthorne story.
Rags to Death.
Rags to Death. This ain't no comeback story. This is this is just straight horror. But I think if I had a book about me, probably like I Can't Believe He Ate the Whole Thing, the Chris Hawthorne story, then there would be a part 2. I Can Believe He Ate the Whole Thing, the Chris Hawthorne story, and it's got my Grant face on there.
The first one has you as a kid where you're just like little tiny skinny.
Yeah.
And the next one is you after you've eaten a whole cake. No, wait,
Me
that's
now.
That's me.
This is me now. Another question, something I've asked Dad this the other day. Actually, I can't remember what he had said, but if you had to choose between being blind or deaf, what would it be?
Deaf.
Deaf? Interesting. Why?
I can't imagine living in darkness. If I'm deaf, I can still communicate with you. If I'm blind, I know blind people. People that are born blind
Yeah.
get around just fine. But I can't imagine with having sight being blind, but I can imagine not being able to hear anything.
See, I disagree with you.
You'd rather be blind?
I'd rather be blind. I'm going to tell you why. Yes, for me, as the type of person that I am, I have to be able to communicate with people. I want to be able to hear people. I don't have to see you. But you take, and I also am a big lover of music.
Yeah.
I can't go a day without having tunes playing. I got to have it going constantly. Just I don't know if it's something weird about me, but anyway. And I could not go without it. I couldn't go without that. But you take my ability away to communicate with people like that. Yeah, I can see people and do sign language, but I want to be able to hear your voice. I want to be able to talk to you and communicate with you in that type of way. So if you took that away from me, if I was, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be deaf.
See, this question makes me think of a Seinfeld episode where Jerry's like, I just couldn't be blind. I would never know if there's bugs in my food.
That's a good
How
point.
could you eat?
I mean, you don't know. I marry some just blind, hot, super hot chick.
And you're deaf.
I'm deaf and she's blind. A match made in heaven.
Wow.
That'd be interesting. Going around the house. That'd probably be a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you.
Join forces.
Okay, Justy Bug. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Honestly, you don't need to eat that.
It's a pretty good one.
I know you want to eat that. You don't need to eat that. What about you?
Stay away from cake.
Stay away from cake.
Don't put a whole thing of Oreos in a bowl and eat them. Fight that temptation.
I know you like to eat whole cakes for a snack.
Yeah. Just get a Justy Bug. Yeah, you've done that. Eat a whole cake for a snack. What would I tell my 18-year-old? What would I really tell my 18-year-old self? Let me think. Don't squander opportunities. Don't live, have the confidence in yourself Believe in yourself. Don't blow chances just because you think you can't do it or whatever. Just take the risk, take the leap and do it and try it out because you don't know.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit. That's what I would tell myself.
What's next?
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? Your red beard?
Yeah.
Your rapist wit?
No. That's you.
I don't know about that.
I just want to be remembered as like a kind, good person.
I think everybody, that's probably everybody feels that way.
What about you, Chris?
I tell you what, I'm always concerned, and I worry about this too much, with like how I make people feel, how I'm affecting people.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, and sometimes I affect people in a negative way. I've affected you in a negative way. So I don't know. My concern, I've said this before, because I've heard someone told me this one time, and it always stuck with me. The whole thing, I've said it before too, is people may not remember you for how much money you had, the way you looked, all this and that. They may not remember those things, but people are always going to remember the way that you made them feel.
Yeah.
So I always go back to like, the heck was that?
Is that your phone?
No, it wasn't my phone. Something going off in here. Maybe it was a rat. But for me is, I want to make people feel good. And when people think of me, I want them to have good feelings and be like, man, that guy was.
Have happy memories of you.
Have good memories.
Good memories.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Oh my Lord. I wish you would have gave me these beforehand.
We're doing them on the
so I could have.
Probably should have been good, but just a quick one. Think.
A childhood memory. Golly.
I can tell you, when I tell you, I probably shouldn't tell this, but I'm going to tell you this thing I thought of the other day.
What?
You might remember this. You know that love seat in the Rock House that we had? No, it wasn't a love seat. I think it was just a chair. But I would always, it was like navy blue or something.
Yeah.
I would always sit on the back of that chair, like on the top of it up against the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. But I remember Ryan. This is another funny reason to bring this up, because they talk about the whole hazing thing. Ryan sat down in the chair. I was sitting on top. Of course, we just talked about hazing, and then I've been guilty of this. I was a little kid, but I thought it would be funny to pull my dong and balls out. So I sit on top of his head. And then once he realized what was going on, he picked me up and threw me on the ground. I deserved it.
What possessed you to think that was okay?
I don't.
How old were you? 15?
Dude, I'm no better than these hazing people. I'm no better than the freaking football players at Northwestern. I think weird. I guess maybe I'm weird. Like, I don't know why I did that stuff. I was so mischievous, and like I would just think that dumb stuff like that was funny. I still do, but I'm not gonna, do something like that now.
This reminds me of a story. You remember the time our neighbor was over at our house? He was sitting on his four-wheeler, and you walked up to him and just start taking a whiz on his leg.
I don't remember this.
You walked up and I think you were like 3 or 4,
or was it? I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
You walk up to him and just start peeing on his leg. He's like, "You little
dude." Did he not clock me? I don't remember.
He wanted to, but he didn't. I mean, you were.
I was a little kid.
Yeah, 6 years younger than us.
Goodness, man, what's wrong with me? I'm a monster. I peed on this.
As bad
guy.
as those Northwestern
dude.
guys.
I am. I'm sitting here making fun of them. I've got issues. I got to work out.
I remember that time you held down that guy and dry humped him.
That never happened, by the way. What is wrong with me? I'm realizing some things. This is my therapy session. I'm finding my true colors here. I do not remember doing that. I mean, I'm not so shocked that I did.
I remember it because I was just like, what is he thinking?
I just thought it was funny. I don't know. Pee is kind of funny. No, I'm probably not being peed on. But
Yeah, I don't know many people that enjoy being peed on.
if you guess you're the one doing the peeing, it could be pretty exciting.
I thought of a childhood memory.
Yeah, besides me pissing all over people.
Peeing on people. I remember, well, this was before you were born. This is when we lived in Umpire. I remember in my bedroom, Mom and Dad had got me a bed tent.
Oh, yeah.
It was a tent that went over my bed. I could zip it up. It was like my own little clubhouse. And I remember the movie, was it Problem Child 2, where he has the bed that's like a spaceship?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
I had like some sort of toy that was like a steering wheel and stuff, and I used to get in there and pretend it was like a spaceship and play.
That's a good memory.
Yeah.
I think mine would be just pissing everywhere.
Pissing everywhere?
No.
I remember another story about peeing.
Okay, go ahead.
Remember us and our cousin, we used to dig pots
Yeah.
in the yard. We dig holes and pee in them.
Pee holes, crap holes. Y'all ever take a dump in there?
I don't know if I ever took a dump in there, but I remember peeing in them.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember that. There's some weird things you do when you're a kid.
What are you guys doing with that shovel? Oh, we're digging pots.
I do remember when I was just wetting the bed all the time. I remember always peeing all over Ryan.
Every time.
It never failed. I would go, and I don't know, whatever when I was little, I would sometimes go crawl in bed with him. And every time I did, he would wake up. One of the funniest stories is that it was freezing cold in that house. I'd crawl in bed with him. I hope he doesn't mind me telling this. It's too late now. I crawl in bed with him anyway. We go to sleep. He wakes me up and is like, Chris, you have pissed all over me. He's like, what have you done? Like I told you he's going to do it. It's like, I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry. And he was like, well, at least it's warm.
Makes me think of another peeing story about you.
What is it with me and urine?
I remember you used to pee like a madman, like all the time. Anyways, you know, we all three of us shared a bedroom there for a little while, but then Ryan got his own room. I remember he got a brand new bed. First day he had it, you went and laid down on it, and there was like no blankets on it, sheets on it, nothing. Like he had just got it. You laid on it, fell asleep, and peed on it. And then when you peed, it was like hard. Remember that? It turned white. It was like a blue mattress. It turned white right there. And it was like hard as a rock. Right? Like, Chris, what did you do? What's in your pee? What's in your pee that would do this?
Why did it turn white?
I don't know. It changed the color of it. It made it hard.
Because for some reason, whenever I piss, like maybe especially then, like I would just pee gallons, and I'm still that way. I don't know what it is. Because you got to think. And this is another weird thing that I've done. Have you ever peed in a cup to see how much you could pee at one time?
No. To be honest with you, I never have.
I'm going to tell you something. True story. And now this sounds weird. People know that I'm weird. It doesn't matter. I got a 32-ounce cup, styrofoam cup. And I was curious, and one day I was getting a little weird here by myself. I was like, I wonder how much urine I've got. And it's like, one evacuation, if you want to call it. I filled this 32-ounce. I'm not exaggerating. I filled this 32-ounce cup and had a little left over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, my gosh. So I was like, you don't really realize how much you're peeing. Like how many ounces of fluid you're losing.
You must be, no wonder you're drinking a gallon of tea.
Maybe, yeah, this is why I'm pissing a gallon. But we got what these weird pissing stories. Any more peeing stories you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of. I'm sure I'll have another one come to me at some point.
That's what's funny about doing this. That's what I always say. Like something we're going to do is going to trigger a memory. Like it'll bring up something that it'll. I feel like I see somebody walking around outside. Do you? Maybe I'm seeing things. Anyway,
buddy.
Okay, Justy Bug. One last one for you. I wasn't even going to ask this one, but I'll go ahead and do it. What do people misunderstand about you the most?
People wonder why I'm quiet. I'm a quiet person in general.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a quiet person. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it other than I don't have a lot to say most of the time.
You're kind of like Dad in a lot of aspects. Because I talk to people about Dad a lot because, Dad's a quiet guy like that, but Dad's also a funny guy. And you've got more of that dry sense of humor, but like kind of like you pick your moments because you always say things that usually cut me deep, like something random and I was really cracked me up. But you very, I guess you pick your spots.
Yeah.
But like knowing you, because I know people that tell me that about you, like, Justin's really quiet. I'm like, well, not if you get to know him. But I was like, yeah, he is. And I get that way. I can be, super flamboyant and funny and laugh and want to be jokey. But I can be very reserved. But when people see me being quiet and reserved, they're always like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, what's going on? I'm like, hey, I'm not chummy all the time. Just because I'm quiet doesn't mean that I'm in a bad mood, because sometimes I'm like that. Like, I'll tell you a thing that has hurt some friendships of mine, like growing up, is that I'll tell you what, my buddy Dylan one time said this about me, and I couldn't get mad at him because it was the truth. Dylan goes, he goes, you know what? You're a sociable recluse. And I thought about it, and I was like, he's exactly right. Like, I am a sociable recluse.
I'm just a regular recluse. Like, I don't mean no ill will about it, but like I don't call people. I don't like talking on the phone. I'll text people.
I don't reach out to hardly anybody.
But I don't know.
The main thing that because everybody's so busy in their life, and hell, I know I've got nothing really going on. I'm a single dude floating out here like a plastic bag in the wind. So I'm always like, I just don't bother people. And I know I need to reach out to people more, but it's in me just to yeah. I don't know. I just don't want to bother. Like, if people want to hang out with me, I let them come to me, because at least then I know that people want to see you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a person who just pops in.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the pop in.
Not a pop in guy.
If I'm not invited, I ain't showing up. But yeah, I can be very sociable, but like even like in social gatherings, sometimes I have to, like, I can chum up and be funny, but like it's almost like draining. It's hard to explain that. So I usually go out to my vehicle for a moment, and everybody always thinks that something's wrong. And honestly, it's just me stepping away for a moment, kind of, if you want to call that recharging. I don't know what you would call it.
And see, I think it may just be a Hawthorne thing.
Me and Ryan have discussed this.
Because I know, like me, I have to have me time.
Yeah.
Like, I talked to somebody about this today. When I get up, get ready for work, I leave. It's like a 40-minute drive to where I work. That is my time to, like, be by myself. I turn on just a podcast, so it's kind of quiet. It's not like loud music or anything. That's my time to be by myself, be to my thoughts, chill out. Like, I have to have some me time. Yeah. Whether it's that, playing a video game, just sitting there watching some videos on YouTube, whatever. Like you said, whenever, to me, it sounds kind of bad, but it's draining.
Yeah, I get it. People don't understand that, but I get it.
To deal with people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way. It's like draining on me to do that. So you have to like kind of recharge yourself.
Yeah, because and people always kind of think, and I've hurt a lot of people's feelings by being standoffish, because I never want to tell people. I do now. Like, being older, I handle it, and people that know me already know me now well enough. But I never wanted to hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
By telling them I don't want to hang out with you, because I always say you're going to take this personally. That's why I try to learn to not take anything personally.
Yeah.
And I tell people I've got special relationships with like certain friends where we can be honest about it, because I'm always like, hey, if we have something planned, because I know how I am about things, the text I send out is, hey, do you still feel like hanging out? Are you still good mentally? Are we good to go?
Yeah.
Because if not, I understand. I'm not going to feel bad about it, because I'm the same way. I wouldn't want you to feel bad, because it's nothing personal. It's just the way I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not a 24/7 kind of guy. And people, I think everybody needs alone time, because when I see people, because we're so the way we are, when I see people that can't handle being alone, it kind of shocks me. But I get it and I understand that. And you can be alone too much. Like, I've experienced loneliness. I think we all have, because sometimes I'm alone way too much, because I'm an overthinker. Are you an overthinker?
Oh, yeah.
And when you're alone, sometimes you get lost in your own thoughts. Now, that could be a bad thing if you think too much. But, yeah, we're weird in that way. And other people, and I thought this growing up, I was like, everybody's so weird. But then I realized, I was like, I'm the weird one.
I'm the weird one.
Yeah, I'm the problem.
There's something wrong with me.
But the people in my life now know that about me. And so they just know that I just come and go whenever.
Yeah.
They see me when they see me.
And see, I know that this was a deal when I first got married. You know, my wife didn't really, sometimes I'd be like, hey, I just got to go do my own thing for a little bit.
Yeah.
And she didn't really understand it. Now she gets it. We've been together almost 15 years. Well, we've been together for 15 years, but been married almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And she knows, like, if I've had like a rough week at work, lots of long, especially hot days like it's been lately, she knows, like, I need to have like some time doing whatever I want to do and just kind of chill out.
Yeah, I think everybody, and of course, I've never balanced. You talk about being that way and balancing marriage, your work life, kids. Like, that's something I don't have to deal with. So I think about on a daily. Like, I try to put myself in other people's shoes and think how I would deal with that. I'd be like, that would be such a freaking challenge to manage all aspects of your life, because I can be selfish. Every day for me is some me time.
Yeah,
but that's where communication comes in, I guess.
And like the way I kind of think of it is, you've got all these things in your life that take a piece of you, and you got to decide, well, how much of a piece am I going to give to this or that, whatever. And what I've decided to do is to give my biggest piece to my family.
Yeah.
To me, my family is the most important thing to me.
And that's the way it should be.
And like some people, it's their job, which is fine. And, if they're working out. Whatever. Some people, sometimes we need like alone time. Some people need to work out, whatever.
Yeah, everybody's different.
It's just finding your priorities and helping you get through.
Communication's key, I've realized, in life, in all aspects of life. Communication. Always communicate the way you're feeling and you don't have to always, I approach everything in a calm manner. I always tell people, like, don't be afraid to ever communicate anything, because I get it. I understand everything. But communication's key. If you're just not feeling it, like I put so many people off a lot of years, and it hurt relationships that I've had in my life. And I wish I just would have explained it, but I never did, because I never wanted to, because it wasn't them, it was me. I never wanted to hurt anybody's feelings, but I don't know. Communication, as you know this, being a married man in all aspects of life. Well, you're touching me.
Felt like you needed some contact.
Oh, I need a hug, Justy Bug. But anyway, how did we get off on that?
I don't know. What was the question you asked me? What was my favorite childhood memory?
What's your favorite snack? Let me tell you about managing my life. No, I think the question was, what do people misunderstand about you?
Oh, yeah.
That's probably, and it's, I guess it's the same thing for both of us, I guess, in a different kind of way. Justy Bug.
Lay it on me, Chris.
We're going to talk about music television, particularly the channel MTV.
Huh?
What do you remember about MTV?
I remember when I was a teenager, when we finally got satellite dish. We had cable for a long time. Well, we had just an antenna for a while. Then we had cable.
Mm-hmm.
And when we finally got dish, that's when we got MTV. And I was a teenager.
Satellite was a whole new thing. I remember thinking, what in the hell have we got?
It changed the game for us.
Cartoon Network.
I mean, we didn't even have the Disney Channel for a long time.
Yeah, I know.
We had Nickelodeon, which I love Nickelodeon because that's what we had. But like, whenever we finally got Dish, it was like blew my mind as a kid.
You know, for me, I know I mainly watched like Cartoon Network when I was a kid, but once I got a little bit older, like preteen even, I discovered MTV. Because you got to think about MTV, how much it's changed. In the 80s when it showed up, they played was music videos. And that's what really took music videos off. You know, that's what broke them off was MTV. Like that's how you got your exposure. And then you go to the 90s. They start introducing shows like The Real World, like reality shows. That was like the first, maybe it wasn't the first reality show, but one of the first big reality shows. And it started, and they still played some music. And then you go to the 2000s, and then you got shows like Jackass,
Viva La Bam,
Wild Boys, and like Jackass is what I really fell in love with. But it was still some music, because you remember like TRL with Carson Daly?
Yeah.
Because you got to think now you have any exposure you want. Now every artist has their own platform. It wasn't that big of a case back then. So those artists went to TRL and shows like that to get that exposure. And that was a massive show. There would be people lined up outside, all the fans. Like, it was a big deal to be on that show.
Yeah.
But as the time goes on, that show, it lost the ratings because of things like YouTube. Because artists now, you put your videos on YouTube, you can instantly put it on there, put it on your platform on Spotify. Spotify ruined it.
And it's accessible to anyone. There's not like, you don't have to have a satellite service cable provider to watch it. Anybody can watch it.
And then so when they're shifting more and more away from music, and then they had their other reality shows like Robin Big came, and like the later mid 2000s, 2010s.
That's what I always remember you watching.
I watched Robin Big, like I fell in love with Jackass, and sadly that's probably what shaped my humor a lot as a kid. But being a kid and seeing that on television, like the pranks, all that stuff, it like blew my mind, and how raunchy it was.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't watch stuff like that, and I wasn't supposed to watch it, but I did.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that was, but something's leaking over here. But and all the spinoffs, I loved Wild Boys.
I do too.
And that was what I was more so a big fan of. And then Robin Big came. I fell in love with that show. I loved watching that show. Of course, I was a teenager when that came out, or something like that. And then you had shows like Catfish. You probably never watched that. I've watched a handful of episodes, and I was starting to like slowly make my transition out of it, because I was just like, the Jackass stuff was done with.
Yeah.
That Robin Big show, they had split up. He had his own new stuff that I wasn't crazy about, like the Fantasy Factory show. But then you look at the state of it now. And I went and looked the other day. MTV is a former shell of itself. Even because like over the years, and each generation hates the one before.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody's like, well, they're not playing music videos anymore. Another one's like, well, they're not doing these reality shows and playing some new music. Well, now the reality shows have completely gone. Now they're just showing reruns of bullcrap.
What are they showing on it now?
Now, it's like the show Ridiculousness by Rob Dyrdek. He's basically taking that over. That plays 24/7 because, and that's such an easy show for people to watch because you don't have to think. It's mindless.
Yeah.
It's just a clip show. So you watch, you don't have to think about it. So it's on nonstop. Then they have reruns of just old programming, like old sitcoms and stuff.
Really?
They still have like, and I don't watch it at all anymore.
See, I haven't watched MTV in probably 20 years almost.
Jeez, it's been that long?
I mean, been a while. Well, it's probably like 15 years.
Yeah, and I don't play, and I don't even know if they play music videos. Maybe they do late at night, but I don't think so. I just think it's just become, in a weird sense, it's a shell of its former self. The MTV that we fell in love with is dead and gone.
See, I don't know why they don't show reruns. If they're showing reruns, why aren't they showing reruns at Jackass, Viva La Bam, Wild Boys? Like,
and they might do that more than I know because I never watch it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'd want to see too.
I mean, that's what I would want to watch.
And then they got like the Jersey Shore show. And I'll be honest with you, I watch some of the Jersey Shore. Like the originals crack me up, but like the new stuff, I just can't get into it.
I remember Hannah used to watch Teen Mom.
Dude, I'll be completely honest with you. I watched a little bit of Teen Mom. I remember getting caught watching Teen Mom one time by my friend Hannah. She's a chick too. Whenever we all lived together, she walked in the living room. I just changed the channel real quick. She's like, "Whoa!" Like, what were you watching? I was like, nothing. I was just looking through. She's like, no. It's like, were you watching Teen Mom? And I was like, yeah. I was like, hell, I'm curious to see if Janine's gonna actually support this kid and stay with her boyfriend. They falling on hard times.
What's funny is I can't believe you actually know the girl's name because I remember watching that with Hannah. Hannah would watch it.
I don't know if her name's Janine.
There's one named Janine.
Janine, maybe that's what it was.
Was she like, we could have been watching this together the whole time? You've been hiding it from me?
Yeah, I guess that was a guilty pleasure for a while. I was a closet Teen Mom fan for a moment.
Like, to me, when I think of MTV, watching MTV, I always think of VH1.
Yeah, that was was that a sister station?
I don't know. They're both very similar.
Yeah.
When I remember watching it, they both had a lot of reality shows, and I can't remember which reality show was on which channel. Because I remember watching, like, what was it, Rock of Love?
Yeah, Flavor of Love, Rock of Love.
With the guy from, what's the singer's name?
Poison? Bret Michaels?
Yeah, Bret Michaels.
And those were huge. It's cringy to look back on all that. Like all that stuff is so cringy, but it's so funny just to think about how popular those reality shows were.
Yeah.
And do you remember what I loved about VH1? They had Behind the Music.
Yeah.
Those were great. But then they shifted to the reality based stuff. But even like I love the 80s, those shows, I love the 90s.
I like those shows too, just because it helped me tap into that nostalgia.
Yeah.
From being a kid.
But did you go to VH1 now too?
Sure, it's the same stuff.
They don't show. It's the same thing as MTV. I think honestly, I don't even know what VH1 shows nowadays. It's not what it was. It may be like the Housewives of Atlanta, some bullcrap like that. Something I'm not going to watch.
I can't tell you just because I don't have regular TV anymore. I just stream everything, Netflix, Hulu, that type of thing.
That's a whole other thing. That's why MTV's dying out.
Yeah.
That's why ESPN's losing a ton of money and all these places. Streaming has been good and extremely bad.
Yeah.
So, but think about the things you watch now. Like, what I don't like is you're gonna have to pay separately for everything you want. But then you got to make choices. Like, are you gonna want like this MTV package? Well, you can't have it, or you can have it, but you also it's a separate cost for the ESPN package. Or
my deal is the only thing I really care about is live sports, watching the Razorbacks. That's the only thing that I'm like, oh man, I really need to watch this, and the only way I can get this is to get like Sling TV or Hulu TV or whatever. Like the other stuff, to me, the way I do it, Netflix is our only. I'm always going to have Netflix. Netflix is like the one constant thing that I subscribe to.
Netflix is showing ads now, I've heard.
Yeah, I think there's like an ad tier.
Yeah, and they're going up and
But like everything else, like HBO Max, or it's just Max now. Like I'll get it for a while. When I'm kind of done with it, I'll cancel it till there's more stuff on it than I want. Then I'll resubscribe, and then like the other things, I do like Sling TV during football season so I can watch the Razorbacks play, and then when that's over, I'll cancel it. Weird times we're living in, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll change a lot too. Like the majority of what I watch, basically the only thing I watch is YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube 24/7. I'm watching something, that's what it's going to be on. And it's not even because, like, the main thing, like, I'm not a huge NBA fan, but I like watching Inside the NBA.
Yeah.
With Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. But what I do is I just get on YouTube and just watch the highlights of that show, or just like, that's what I do now. Like major content that's on the networks, and they know that now, which is now why they have all their official YouTube channels, because that's just, that's a ton of traffic. So that's what I go to all the time, watching YouTube.
And it's weird how, for me, it started, had satellite with DVR, and I would record it and then watch it the next day so I could fast forward through the commercials.
Yeah.
And then drop that to get like Netflix so I didn't have to watch anything. But now they're trying to cram ads and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. It's all about making money. Hell, if people gave me ads to read on here and paid us money to read ads, you best believe I would be reading some commercials.
Need a sponsor for the Heavyset Podcast.
If only. But man, that's all I really got to say about MTV. But I just thought about how much I loved it growing up and how I watched it religiously all the time.
Yeah, we watched it like every day.
Yeah, that was all the only content I consumed, and it's so funny how things change, and it's a shell of its former self. And every generation can say that.
Yeah.
But we're saying it now. Justy Bug.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about MTV?
Rest in peace, MTV.
Rest in peace, MTV. All right. What's next on the docket? What do we got here?
Chris, we are going to rank our favorite fast food ice creams.
Okay. What are we choosing between, J-Bug?
We've got McDonald's, Sonic, Dairy Queen, Burger King, and
Wendy's?
Wendy's. I was like, I know I'm forgetting one because we have 5. Don't you love it when we wing it?
Yeah. Hey, one thing about me in live, or me and you in live, we're always winging it 24/7.
At least when it comes to this podcast, we're winging it.
Everybody always asks me, "What are you gonna do about so and so?" I'm gonna wing it. I'm just gonna see how it turns out.
Roll the dice, see how it goes.
Sometimes you get really good content like that, though. I mean, just random things. And sometimes you don't. This may be a stinker.
And sometimes we think we're getting good content, and nobody gives a rat's crap for it.
Nobody gives a rat's crap anyway. Who cares? We don't care about many things. We want people to care about this podcast.
Nobody does.
Yeah, nobody does. That's why I tell people, I never talk about this podcast a lot with anybody because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't want people, especially your friends, to feel like they have to listen because they don't want to listen to this.
I want you to start wearing that shirt everywhere.
I've thought about it.
You get you a hat.
But I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to be that guy. But that's why I tell people, like, the main thing you have to do it for yourself because you enjoy it. Because I love doing it. It's fun.
Yeah, to me, it's just fun hanging out with my brothers.
Yeah, because it's like, do I really expect this? Like, people want to be liked. I would love for everybody to love this and like can't get enough of it. But I live in reality.
Yeah.
And so the main thing is that you got to do things in life for yourself, and like, this has a fulfilling effect on me. Yeah, I feel happy when I do it. It's good to be around because most of the time we don't see each other unless we're around this table.
Yeah.
And so it's got that to it. So the thing is, I guess the lesson for people at home, if you got something you're passionate about, something in life that fulfills you, do it. And maybe people vibe with it. Maybe they don't vibe with it. But it doesn't matter what people think. You just got to do it for yourself. Obviously, I'm going to promote this somewhat and share it and upload it, hoping people like it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
You know, since we were kind of on this subject, how much money are you making off of this?
That's another funny part of this. Whenever we first started this, of course, when something's new like this, you can say, oh, we're doing a podcast. That's like people get that little bit of interest, just that little, until they listen to it. People get that little bit of interest, and the only question that would ever get asked would be, oh, how much money are you making off of it? And I don't blame the curiosity because I probably think the same thing. I'm like,
because people think, oh, you're doing a podcast. Man, you must be making some at least something off of it.
We're not getting those type of listeners. And I would always be like, no, we're not making any money. But what's funny is, and me and Ryan have discussed this, when you tell people like we're not making any money, you can see them immediately lose interest.
Yeah, it's like a light goes off.
And I'm like,
oh. What's funny is before I started doing this with y'all, I would get asked that question. How much money are they making off of this? Nothing. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah.
We had the fan mail stuff. And we would joke on the podcast whenever we were doing the whole fan mail thing. Which
don't break the illusion, Chris.
It doesn't. Hell, it's people. It doesn't matter by now.
Yeah.
But it would be so funny back when we were doing audio only. We would do like, oh, we're getting millions and millions or thousands and thousands of fan mail sent to us, and occasionally, people would write in and email us some.
Yeah.
Of course, we would come up with whatever. And I remember somebody asking me, and they were for real about it, where I'm like, man. Like, I can't believe that you guys are like, you're getting thousands and thousands of fan mail. Like, they had no clue. I finally looked at them. I was like, we ain't getting thousands and thousands of letters. I was like, but it never occurred in my mind that somebody would think that. Like, they wouldn't realize I was joking.
They're like, man, you got, probably 1,000 millions of listeners. Why is there holes all in your shirt?
I'm wearing rags, Justy Bug. I'm wearing rags. But that's always been just the funny thing about it. And there's so many things, like, I want to elevate this. What are you laughing about?
We're talking about ice cream.
I mean, this is good conversation,
yeah.
I think.
It just dawned on me. We were talking about ice cream.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Heavyset Podcast. I'm going to talk a little bit about dry humping, peeing everywhere, some ice cream. We're going to go off on weird tangents.
I think if we have a combined book, it's going to be called Incoherent Ramblings.
Oh, the ramblings of an aging man.
Anyway, proceed with what you're saying.
But, because the thing is, I know for me, I want to continue to do this on some level. I wish I was more consistent with it, but the reality is, and I could be by myself, but I don't have, because I'm going to get on here and ramble like I'm doing now by myself, and it's different when you don't have anybody to play that off on.
Yeah.
And then you go back to it, you could be like, I could start a different podcast with somebody else, but then that's a whole other thing of like, I don't know, I've got commitment issues. I don't know if I want to start that one. It's not other people, it's me, like, because we're brothers.
Yeah.
We can communicate with each other. We're at each other's throats at times, or sometimes where we've been angry before we've had disagreements before the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens. But we can communicate our feelings towards each other and we can work out our problems. So when you enter it with, it's just, it opens other doors that I just don't know about. I don't want to make that commitment on somebody and then like be into it, but like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And, something that I've thought about doing that I wish I could do, but I just don't think I have to do it, is like stream games and play games like live on stream.
I've thought about that.
But like,
that,
you see people do that.
You're a gamer.
Yeah.
Way more than I ever have been. I think that would be good for you.
But my deal is people get on there and they're just like talking, and they're just
I want you to do
there.
something.
What?
Don't read what this is. But look, don't say it out loud, but look at what that email is. Don't ask no questions. But I know you would enjoy that.
But anyway, just being able to like talk, be just by yourself and be talking while you're playing a game. I don't think I could do that.
It's tough. Doing it, being by yourself and trying to be funny is like being a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I would be the worst stand-up comedian of all time because I say things only to make myself laugh. And that's the worst kind of comedian.
And see, like, I used to do stuff because I would think it was funny. Nobody else thinks it's funny.
Exactly.
But I think it's funny. So I do it and I say it. And I do this to this day. I will do stuff to like hand in the kids because I think it's funny, and it drives them absolutely crazy.
I know, and we're all like that. I'm the exact same way. And then that's why I think about how I affect people, because I do things to my friends, just random weird things to try to get a rise out of them, make them laugh, like just do awkward stuff. But then I think about it, I was like, I'm kind of a jackass. Like, why do people like me? And what's funny is, I'll just go ahead. We'll go in on this since we're already going there.
Yeah.
I have made a bunch of stuff that nobody has ever seen, and probably nobody will ever see. It'll never see the light of day. But like, I've had because we're fairly raunchy on this podcast, I would say to us. So I try to keep it PG
at times.
I try to keep it PG-13 because when you're living in a small town, I don't want to be saying blah, 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 and then have people show up with torches and pitchforks.
Yeah.
Because it's not because we live in a small area where everybody knows you. Not that we have enough people watching who give an F anyway. But I have thought about, which I started a different one that I never told anybody about, and I'd put some stuff on there, but I took it all off. Like more of a unfiltered, a nighttime podcast, if you will. But I thought about it, and maybe that's what I'll end up doing one day. And I'm not saying that it just has to be gobs and gobs of raunchiness. It's not that. It's not me saying MF or 24/7.
It's you unchained.
Me being more open, because here's the thing: you can only say so much because you have a family and you need to protect. Like, you have all that. Because you're not just affecting you.
Yeah.
I don't have a family, so the only person I'm affecting is me. I have a brother, 2 brothers. But so that was a whole nother aspect about it that I don't know, and maybe I will do something like that one day. And it's not going to be a complete raunch fest, but have something where I talk about maybe some more raunchier topics, because I don't mind to be real about things. I don't mind to be open to a point, and to talk about things, because that's just the type of person I am, and I like having those weird and awkward conversations about weird topics.
And see, like, people have came up to me before I was on it, and they would talk about you and Ryan, and they'd be like, I really wish that they had like a explicit version of the podcast. They're like, we can tell at times that you want to take it a little bit further, but you dial it back, and they just want to hear, because they know it'll be funny. They want to hear that next notch up.
Yeah, and then that's a discussion me and Ryan had a lot. And I mean, I think there's probably just a healthy balance in between. Will I do that one day? I don't know. I don't know if I ever will. I've made a bunch of stuff.
You'll be the next Howard Stern.
See, and here's the deal. I would love that. I would love to, I mean, it doesn't have to be like as raunchy as Howard Stern, but like, I'm a weird dude who loves to just talk about weird bull crap. But I don't, it's such a risk. It's such a leap. And then you don't, I don't know. I don't want to affect people in a bad way.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that I plan on to keep on doing this in some form or fashion the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because it's fulfilling to me. It's what I want to do. And I would love to keep, and I figure as long as we're alive, we may not be able to, we obviously can't do this on a consistent everyday basis. Maybe we can get to a point to where we can figure that out one day. Doubtfully, but maybe. But I want to continue to do this, and we will at some form or fashion.
Yeah.
This will, as long as we're still breathing. But I also want to elevate this to, more than what this is, and what that is, like, I don't want it to be just a podcast. I want to do different things, but you got to get there. And I mean, I don't know. You just got to figure it all out.
Yep. So, Chris, what's your number 5?
Number 5 favorite fast food ice cream, ladies and gentlemen. Burger King.
Explain. We're just going to name it all. 5 is this, 4 is this, 3 is this. We're done.
We're done, folks. I don't really think Burger King has good. I mean, it's not. I haven't had a plethora of Burger King ice cream, but I'm just not in love with it. I don't think it's particularly good.
That is also my number 5.
Interesting. What do you not like about it?
It's ice cream. I mean, it's fine, but there's nothing
in Burger King
special about it.
To be fair, Burger King isn't hanging their hat on their ice cream either.
Yeah.
It's not like they're not known for their ice cream. But which am I going for?
Go for
McDonald's.
Explain.
Oh, it's so fun. I'm thinking about people watching this at home and what people think about us. Like, what do they think about us? I'm always thinking that.
I think from the numbers that you show me, they're not making it this far.
That's true. For me, McDonald's ice cream. Once again, they promote it more than Burger King does. And a McFlurry's fine, but to me, there's nothing special about it that I enjoy. I don't go out there and buy McFlurries.
I can't tell you the last time I had a McFlurry.
Yeah, it's been years.
McDonald's.
We're going to have the same one.
To me, like every once in a while, I like just going and getting a vanilla ice cream cone from McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's refreshing. I mean, it tastes good, but there's nothing special about it. It's a notch above Burger King, but there's not really anything special about it.
Yeah.
But just one knock against it is it does seem a lot of times you go and the ice cream machine ain't working.
That's a thing. That's always been a thing with McDonald's. Are they telling the truth?
And I think one thing that McDonald's has over Burger King is they have like the Grimace shake.
Yeah.
The Shamrock shake. They have things like that every once in a while that kind of.
Yeah, they do their part to promote it. They hang their hat more on it than Burger King does.
Yeah.
But there was a guy who was working on an app, I think, that was an app of all the McDonald's, like kept track of all the working McDonald's ice cream machines.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever really took off the ground or whatever, but I remember thinking that was a hilarious idea because that's true. It's always broke.
Yeah.
But for me, number 3, make sure we're still recording. We are. For me, number 3, J-Bug, Sonic. And Sonic really promotes.
Surprises me.
Well, here's the deal. I've probably had more Sonic ice cream than any other ones.
Yeah.
More so because it's a little bit closer, more convenient. but I'm soured on it a little bit because to me, when I'm eating the regular ice cream, it doesn't to me taste like anything. It's just sweet. Like I don't taste like the vanilla in there. And of course, you get all the candy bits and whatever mixed up in there, like a blast or whatever. So that makes it taste better. But on its own, I just don't think it has a good enough flavor.
Interesting. See, what I do like about Sonic is they're always doing something different with their ice cream.
Yeah,
whether
that's
there's a
true.
new Sonic Blast flavor, a double stuffed Oreo blast, a red velvet cake blast, a cookie dough blast, Or I know I went to Sonic the other day. I didn't get one, but they had a thing called a snowball, which is a slush with just vanilla soft serve like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Which look good. And they have like cream slushes that I like.
Those are really good. Yeah, the variety there is, that's what makes it because they promote it. They're constantly pumping new flavors and stuff out. So that aspect of it is nice because you can have a buku selection of what you're craving. But for me, it's in my 3 spot.
My 3 is Wendy's.
Really?
I love a good Frosty, but like they have the Frosty, and that's it. They don't have a shake. They don't have a blast like that whatever is a Frosty, which I love Frosties.
Yeah.
And they do have like here lately they've been coming out with like new flavors of them instead of just chocolate and vanilla. I know like they had the strawberry Frosty. At Christmas time they had the peppermint Frosty, which was really good. I saw that they're coming out with a caramel apple Frosty.
That actually sounds
pretty good.
Yeah, it does sound really good. For Wendy's, for me, we're going number 2 now, right?
Yeah.
Wendy's for me was number 2. Yeah, I have the option Sonic has, but I think the flavor of it I like better, and that's all they have is Frosties. But at least they know where it's good. They got a good thing. They're not screwing around with it, and that's one of the main things I like getting from Wendy's. Get you a Big Bacon Classic and a Frosty. Good to go.
There's something about that texture that I like too.
Yeah, it's different.
I know it's just like a mix that they put in there, but
it's the way they mix it.
Yeah.
And that's important. But for me, that was my 2 spot.
My number 2, Sonic, which we've already talked about. But I just, to me, the variety, and like as a kid growing up, you'd stop at Sonic. If you were lucky, you got an ice cream.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a nostalgic thing too, because there really isn't any Wendy's close by.
No.
But there is Sonic's.
Very expensive nowadays. Everything's costs more nowadays.
Yeah.
Man, getting like a ice cream there, you're paying an arm and a leg for that. You'd be better off just going to the store and getting some cheap bull crap.
Yeah.
So I'm going onesies here.
Number 1 sounds
spot,
like we both have the same number 1.
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
To me, Dairy Queen's king. I've never, besides, I've had one bad experience there. The last time I'd win, actually, where I didn't like what I'd had, but it's always, to me, top notch.
But, I always loved the story from when we were kids and we went on a little trip and we were at Dairy Queen and we had blizzards. And you had an Oreo one. We were all sitting around like, there isn't very many Oreos in ours. And you're little and you're like, there's lots of Oreos in mine. Dad looks at you and is just like, proud of you, Chris. Like really plain,
Dad always having to cut me down a little bit. But that is a funny story. I think we talked about that in a few episodes back, but I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But and Dairy Queen hangs their hat on their ice cream, and they're good at it. And the whole turning it upside down thing.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that? Because wasn't it the thing is that you always, if they forgot to turn it upside down, you got it for free?
Yeah.
I've never got to do, I've never had that moment, but I looked for it.
Yeah, I don't even think about it until they do it. They're like,
I watch him like, come on, you rat bastard. I'm like, he ain't going to do. Is he going for the turn? Is he going for the turn? No! He's going for the turn.
You're like Michelangelo at the beginning of Ninja Turtles. 10:38, dude.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds. 122 and an 8. Where the hell is 122 and an 8?
You're standing on it, dude.
How's the rest of that quote go?
Come on, I couldn't find the place.
30 minutes late, dude. Yeah, come on, I couldn't find the place.
Yeah.
You gave me a 10. The tab's 13.
Wise man say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
That is very true. I watched those the other day.
I haven't watched them in a little while.
So, hey, we got one in the books, J-Bug. How do you feel?
Feel good. I got to tell a quick story.
Tell anything you want. You can do whatever you want on there.
Okay.
This is our thing.
This was the summer before I got married.
The summer of 1989?
No. Get over it at 1989.
Hey, I'm not the one in love with I was Ryan who was in love with
Hang
1989.
up on 1989. Ryan's never going to hear the end of this.
I love needling him about that.
But anyways, it was the summer of 2008. A.K.A.
The summer of love.
Summer of ice cream.
The summer of ice cream?
This is the summer of ice cream for me. I lived in a place that had all these little fast food ice cream places. And every day, I was dating my wife at the time. Every day she would call me. She'd be like, what are you doing? I'd say, I'm going to get some ice cream. And I was hitting up a different ice cream place every day. And this, I had lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, I remember hip-hop abs.
Hip-hop abs.
Hip-hop abs.
And they started packing it back on. Probably because I was eating a 32-ounce deal of ice cream from Sonic every other day. Plus Frosties and McDonald's shakes.
Plus you're probably eating burgers and stuff.
Yeah. That's the same time period I got the quad burger from Wendy's. Got me a 4-patty cheeseburger and a Frosty to wash it down. And I wonder why I'm so big.
Man, we all wonder. We all know.
Yeah.
I've got
everybody knows after this podcast.
I've got a glandular problem. No, you don't. You just ate 32 ounces of ice cream, for crying out loud, every day. Oh, so we calling it?
Let's call it.
We calling it. When I used to watch Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller, I used to love them when Colin would be like, I'm calling it. Let's call it.
Yeah.
Justy Bug, I'm glad to see you today. And hey, I appreciate you. I want you to know that I love you. Thank you for being there for me.
Love you too.
I break down and cry, have a moment on here.
You start bawling, I just turn. And that's the Heavyset Podcast.
It ends with me just in pure turmoil. People would watch it just for that alone. At least you could say, I just have a horrific mental breakdown.
You could clip that and put that on TikTok.
The TikTok clips, I'm not making those. Well, I'm putting it in an AI system and they randomly select things.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't get to pick and choose. They give you like 10 or 11 clips. So I need to figure out a way I can do it manually. But anyway, do you have a message for the people out there? Anything to leave off on until we meet again?
It's hot out there. It's getting hotter. Go enjoy you some nice cold ice cream.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
What do you got, Chris?
What do I have for the folks? Listen, everybody. Don't put things off in life. It reminds me of a movie where this guy was given the microphone and he just goes off on this horrible, horrific tangent. Never stop leveling up in life, everybody. Level up. Don't be stagnant. Don't be stagnant, Justy Bug. Life's a journey. We're all in this thing together and learning. Don't wallow in anything. Make moves. Make stuff happen. We got one life. We all got to live it.
Life's a dance. You learn as you go. Sometimes you lead. Sometimes you follow.
And wise men say, forgiveness is divine. But I don't want any of you rat bastards ever paying full price for late pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Heavyset Podcast. I love you guys for watching this. Just a Bug, love you.
Love you too.
And we will see you very soon. Let me stop this recording.